Kakarot 2's fight with Turles comes to a conclusion. Once more, Kakarot comes out as the victor, much more decisively than before as well. He's glad he got an opportunity to see Turles again. Even if it technically isn't his Turles, still. It's a fulfilling and necessary battle for the both of them. Although, it makes Kakarot 2 wonder, what other loose ends are out there? It can't just be Turles. With all the commotion they caused, he wonders what else is happening. He and Cooler return to the Time Mist. But what lies ahead for them? This is episode 10 of Cell Prime. Piccolo says that he did a good job. They did need to make sure that threat was dealt with too, because it seems like Turles was going to cause a lot of trouble. And Kakarot thanks Piccolo again. He's glad that he got the opportunity to fight here. Although, he notices Cooler's tearing up for some reason. It was such an awesome battle. It was beautiful to watch, and it reminded him of him and Frieza. Even though Turles and Kakarot weren't related, it's like brothers fighting to the death, just like he had to do. It was the best fight he's ever watched. So emotional, too. Weird, they didn't peg Cooler as an emotional guy. Alright though, what's next for them? Well, it seems like they lost track of Cell. They don't know what happened with him because they should be able to look at every reality that they know of. The only option is that there's somehow a new one that was created. They were keeping track of him after he left, and he did stop somewhere but then suddenly disappeared, like he popped out of existence. He might be in uncharted territory, or something else completely. They aren't entirely sure, but they know it's bad news. Especially because that other threat they've been dealing with this entire time. One of the big reasons Piccolo hasn't been present. Let's go over to Cell. As Moro Prime confronts him, Cell wonders how long this guy's been chasing after him. And Moro says he's seen everything that's happened in the split timeline. He knows of what happened to that alternate version of himself, and he knows all about Cell Prime. Cell's surprised that he forgot about this loose end too. He should have realized sooner, especially with all the other times he caused this trouble. He didn't even know that he created another Moro. Moro is impressed with Cell's abilities, having observed him for a while. Yes, he's been watching the entire time, growing stronger as well. See, Cell has Moro's powers, but not his same experience. Sure, he might be a formidable opponent, but he's still green. Well, of course Cell's green. That's his natural color. Yeah, Moro shouldn't have expected him to take this seriously. But he continues explaining. He also knows of the patrol. They've been chasing him this entire time. And this catches Cell's attention. They've been chasing Moro? That must mean he's an actual big threat if anything. And it makes sense too. They have had other threats that they had to go after, and that's the reason he never sees all of them in the same place. Like, for example, he knew of one threat that they had named Few, but he hasn't seen anything of that guy. But to think that Moro was one of the other threats that they were chasing. In terms of strength, Cell Prime and Moro Prime have about the same level of raw power. The difference is their motive and how they use their powers. It's exactly the reason Moro was saying before. Cell is still pretty new at this. Well, relatively. Of course he has tons of data, and he is really smart as a fighter, but consider the fact that Moro is millions of years old and knows countless ways to use his magic effectively. Plus, Cell was just aiming to have fun here. Yes, he was causing havoc along the way, but his actions weren't proactively trying to be destructive. If anything, he was trying to keep things intact so he can come back to them later and fight those same people again. Moro, on the other hand, was actively causing destruction and eating things too. He wanted to wipe out everything. Which is strange because Cell did try the same thing at points. You know, using magic to eat planets and such, but he never used it on really strong opponents, and he never used it on entire universes or realities in general. So Moro's been doing that this entire time. Not even really fighting other people, just causing havoc and growing that way. Cell, on the other hand, grew from actually fighting. He grew because of his innate potential. Moro, he grew by absorbing power, eating other things and forcibly taking the power that way. Yet, Cell thinks his potential has been more effective in terms of him growing. Moro's been absorbing entire realities, while Cell's been fighting people a bunch. And yes, he did absorb things here and there with magic, but still, if they're on an even playing field, that shows that Cell's growth is actually way better than Moro's. At least in the sense of potential. And Moro knows that very well. He lets Cell Prime know that there are other Cells that he fought. Actually, dozens of them. Hundreds of them. With infinite continuities, there are other Cells out there that he just went and fought, using them as practice to see how Cell thought. Some of them were incredibly weak. There were different versions of him too. Ones that were imperfect, semi-perfect. The ones that Gohan fought, the ones that Trunks fought. Revived versions of Cell, good versions of Cell. Cell Juniors, Cell Max. Every version of Cell that he could think of, he went to fight that Cell. And there were a couple powerful ones, some that were really powerful, but nothing really on this level. That's the reason Cell Prime is Cell Prime. He's the strongest Cell out there, and one of the strongest things out there. Of course, Moro didn't just fight versions of Cell. He fought other people like Gods of Destruction. He even fought a version of Turles too, and that version of Turles is actually what brought him here. With how many times they destabilized reality, it created multiple other timelines that branched off from it. There was actually another version of Turles that was just like the one Cell fought recently, and that's what brought him to Cell, given the proximity in realities and such. Around the same time Cell was fighting his own Turles, and Kakamasu for that matter, Moro was fighting one of his own too. What a coincidence. Of course, he knew where Cell was the entire time and has been keeping watch of him. He was planning to strike right then and there, but that other Turles got in his way. Thankfully, he was dealt with pretty quickly. Moro has also been a lot more covert than Cell too, because the patrol is mainly focused on him if anything, which comes as a shock to Cell. He wasn't the main priority. He kind of takes offense to that. But also, Cell didn't realize how big of a threat he was. Moro then lifts a hand up, and the two of them then warp somewhere. Cell has no clue of where they are, but Moro explains. He created his own artificial reality. Actually, many of them. They're in a continuity right now that Moro crafted himself, encased with other realities around them, basically as a shield to make him untraceable. A firewall of sorts. Multiverses, timelines, continuities, all these things around them made as proxies for him. Plus, his magic is activated all around here too. This was another reason that he didn't attack right away. He was making the perfect arena for them to fight in. A vast expanse that's actually a playground for them if anything, just to make sure the patrol doesn't get involved in their fight, since the continuity patrol is known for intruding in fights like that. But this is good for both of them. Of course, Moro didn't plan on holding back, but this way, it entices Cell to go all out. They're not going to have to worry about the patrol finding them and intruding in their battle. And he knows Cell's whole thing is the fact that he wants to have fun. He could have as much fun as he wants here. He could showcase his true power, because even with all the crazy fights they've been in, Cell never truly shows off his full power. Even with all the great key control they have, if they get too reckless, they'll easily destroy everything around them, and he knows Cell doesn't want to do that. He wants to preserve some realities after all because some are interesting. Others, they will get destroyed. But for the other ones with strong opponents, Cell can't be too reckless, otherwise he'll destroy it all. But here, there's seemingly no need to worry about that. Cell could fight to his heart's content and showcase his full strength. Cell starts chuckling, then full on laughing. To think, this entire time, the perfect opponent for him was right there, and it was one that he created. His own actions created Moro Prime. And all this preparation here, it's astounding. Cell commends Moro. He knows that Moro Prime is here for vengeance against the other version of himself, and because he sees Cell Prime as a threat, but still, he respects him for doing this, and he recognizes Moro's immense might. Despite this being a deathmatch, the two acknowledge each other as great warriors, and hold some sort of respect for each other too. That's going to make the battle all the more entertaining for them. The two vanish and appear right in front of each other, with clashing punches. Cell's now at his full power, and Moro's at his full power, the two showcasing similar looking forms. This clash instantly vaporizes the universe they're in, causing a chain reaction too, destroying all the others around them. Not that it matters though, because they have other infinite expanses around them too to fight. And as they fight in this vast, boundless expanse, Cell starts to truly enjoy himself again. This is what he needed all along. He doesn't need the Cell games like he thought. He needed this. Just an opponent like him, in an arena like this. He's never felt so alive. This is his purpose. This is what he was born for. Moro is feeling similar emotions too. But still, he feels he has the advantage here. He lifts a hand up again, gathering energy from all the realities around him. It coalesces into his hand, and Cell finds himself in the middle of a galaxy of Moro's energy. Moro then condenses it into a small ball. But despite the size, this attack can instantly wipe out multiple realities at once. He throws it at Cell, who guards against it, countering with his own attack. But Moro starts flinging various objects to distract him. Superclusters, black holes, planetoids around him, everything that he could find. But Cell thwarts them all off. This is all child's play for him. And Cell then grabs onto the ball that Moro created, absorbing the power from it. Moro then tries to negate his magic, and the ball that he's holding dissipates into nothingness. That's right, Moro didn't even realize. All their powers are going to negate each other. Magic, Hakai's, even Ultra Instinct. Nothing is going to work against each other. They have pretty much all the same abilities. With how strong Moro has grown now, he's made all these things his own too. Plus, his experience is better as well. But all in all, they're the perfect opponents for each other. It's a battle of raw skill and power. Their individual strength and fighting styles will dictate who the victor is here. The battle rages on for hours, destroying all the macrocosms around them, the one that Moro made specifically so that they could fight to their heart's content. And they decide to end it with a spectacular finish, a beam clash. With light years of distance between them, the two start charging their own blast. Within an instant, not only are their blasts charged, but they're launched, and they connect, and they explode. Everything around them, everything that Moro made, and much beyond that as well, it all collapses. The artificial continuities made by Moro, they're completely gone. The damage is so bad, it starts to affect other continuities, making them collapse in on each other. Cell's unsure if he killed Moro there. He can't sense Moro anymore, and Cell himself is pretty badly injured, so he's assuming that Moro was injured by that too. Cell is mangled, unlike he ever has been before. He's lost a lot of energy too. Obviously he can regenerate, so his body's intact again. And thankfully his continuity ring is still there too. And he smiles to himself. That was quite the fun battle, but he knows the patrol's probably going to be here soon. He needs to recharge, which will take a while given how much energy he has to restore. But he wonders if Moro is still out there, and he wonders what's going to happen as the result of this, because clearly, they just created something bigger than they could ever imagine. Cell's excited, more excited than he's ever been before. Something amazing is about to happen. He vanishes from the scene. Back at the Time Nest, the second all of Moro's continuities collapsed, they were able to pick up on this battle, and things are devolving really quickly. The situation is dire. Cronoa puts everyone on alert. All the continuities there are collapsing, and the damage might be spreading too. Cell's not their only threat anymore, nor is Moro. They need to act quickly. Hit says this might be too much for them. There's no way to stop this now. And Bardock theorizes that this is the beginning of an all-out war. Any sort of villain in any of those continuities, if they're strong enough, this is a good opportunity for them to take over stuff. Not to mention, it makes everyone aware of the continuities around them too. Bardock suggests that they need to capture and kill Cell and Moro first, then fix the stuff later. But Granola wonders if that would even work. Even with how strong they've grown now, as powerful as they are, what use is it here against something like this? Cooler curses his own weakness, as do the two Kakarots as well. Piccolo might need to resort to desperate measures. In order to get the power that he had before, he'll need to do something drastic, and that might be the only way to stop everything here. Ruda suggests recruiting more people. Raditz and Guinea agree as well. Guinea thinks finding people to help won't be too hard, especially because there's gotta be a lot of other good people in these continuities that are coming together. If a war is about to break out, they're probably gonna fight regardless. And Raditz says that's the worst case scenario, if a war does break out like Bardock theorized. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but if it does, getting all those different people to help would mean that they could focus on mending the damage before it gets any worse, and they could focus on finding Cell. Cronoa thinks that it might be their best shot. Kakamasu doesn't give any input, but he could see now that Piccolo was right. He was too reckless with what he was doing, and even with how strong he is now, he feels helpless here too. As all of these realities converge in on each other, they need to find heroes within those realities, or at least people who are good enough and will help them. And all the previous people that the patrol has encountered, as well as the people that Cell and Moro have encountered, they watch on. Survivor Cell and Gohan. God of Destruction Goku, as well as Gohan. And not just them, the alternate versions of them too, who have been brought back. God of Destruction Vegeta and Supreme Kai Goku. Plus, people who haven't even encountered these threats yet. Everyone across all of time, space, and reality looks on. Kakamasu watches nervously as the destruction unfolds. Cell Prime? He probably won. He got what he wanted, and there's no going back now. Is this the end of everything as they know it? Are they even safe here on the Time Nest? Is there even any way to stop it? With the entirety of the Time Nest shrouded in anxiety and fear, this is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this episode and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me that you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.